Welcome back, everyone. So let's talk about Truth or Dare, which just came out tonight. And this one's an interesting one to talk about because watching the trailers for this movie, I thought the marketing was cool, just with the designs of the logos and how the trailer was made, even though the trailer showed the goofy parts of the movie. I liked the trailer and I liked the marketing for it. So going into it, I thought it would be really stupid, but it was interestingly marketed, and I liked the way they marketed it. But the movie itself is, it's not good. It's not good, but it has a couple little things that I like about it. I really liked Lucy Hale's character, Olivia. Lucy Hale in this movie did a really good job. I think she understood what this movie was, in terms of the cheese factor of this was what it was probably going to be. Or maybe she didn't. Maybe they didn't even realize that they would put these CGI smiles that look bad sometimes in the movie. But I feel like she probably understood that because she is really good in this movie, and I really liked her character. None of the characters are well written, but usually that's not always the case with horror. Usually horror movies like this are not well written. Not saying there's good horror movies that are well written, but this one wasn't, of course. And I thought that despite that, I liked her a lot. I thought she was a really good main lead, and I thought that all the other characters, they weren't well written either, like her, but I thought that they were all interesting. They all had different dynamics, even though they were simple. I did like them all. I thought they all were really interesting characters. Just as a simplistic thing. They're not, complex, but I like them as, I thought they were interesting. And the plot, to me, this movie, I'm going to mention the plot from what the trailer showed, in which these kids, or these college grads go and play Truth or Dare in this area where, this guy took them to and gives them this curse. And the plot, to me, is very reminiscent of a lot of horror movies recently. I won't spoil how they are perceived, but this movie really does crib on It Follows, Final Destination, and there's in the very ending, which I won't spoil, but the ending scene of the movie is literally the exact same scene as this one horror movie that came out last year. That wasn't considered good either. And I won't mention what it is in case you haven't seen that. And then if you did see that, you'd be like, oh, okay, so I already know the ending to this now. But it's literally the exact same ending. I was sitting there like, what? And I didn't even like that other movie much at all, but that was literally the exact same thing. And I think that this movie just suffers, even though I already knew it wasn't going to be a well-written movie or a movie that's scary and overly silly, but it suffers so much from being almost all these other movies and does not have an identity of its own at all. At first I thought the premise was cool, the curse thing going on, but then I thought of It Follows, or I thought of other movies that have a curse that goes to people, different people, and it banks on all of these movies that have been done before. And I'll try not to say anything else about that because I really don't want to spoil it. If you are going to see this, and I just saw it because I like to see every horror movie. I want to see whether they're good or bad. I'd rather watch a bad horror movie than a bad war movie or a bad political movie. I'd rather watch a bad horror movie over a lot of things. And I thought that I didn't hate it. I really didn't think it was, it's bad, but it didn't, to me, give me, that hatred. It was just lame. It was just a lame movie with a couple okay things, a good performance from Lucy Hale, and these other characters were fine because their acting was fine, and it was shot good. It was plainly shot, but it was shot fine. Shot adequately, I guess you could say. It's just plain, but it works fine. But it's overly goofy, like I said, with the CGI smiles, and some of those CGI smiles and some of these faces are really bad. They just, for some reason, they do it to where some characters have their lips up to here, and then they have some where it's more than halfway down, and some of them are overly cartoony on, and I feel like that wasn't the intent, but it looks bad on some of them. But then some of them look okay. But like some of the close-ups look fine, but some of the ones far at a distance look bad. Like they just really, I was just like, man, I can't, this is hard to watch sometimes with those stupid smiles, stupid Joker-looking smiles. But overall, this movie, like I said, I didn't hate it. It has some okay, likable characters. It's shot all right. That's pretty much all I could say about the positives, and the negatives are just that it's really stupid and it borrows from a lot of other things. So I feel like I'm mixed. Like I'm not gonna say it's the worst thing ever because it's not. I'm not gonna say it's good because it's not. So overall, I think that it's just a piece of just average movie, an average horror movie. Like it's an average horror movie that does nothing to give it an identity, but it doesn't do anything to make it good. It's not terrible, but overall it's just pretty lame.